The chair recognizes the gentleman from Connecticut, Mr. Courtney, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one of the most dynamic and striking figures in American history was General George Scott. He was famous for saying, "Lead, follow, or get out of the way." Mr. Speaker, those words, which were given at a time of world crisis when he was leading the Third Army through France and Germany, still ring true today. We are in a world crisis. This morning, the government released its GDP numbers, and it showed that in the second quarter, the U.S. economy shrunk by 10%. That is the largest number since the government started recording GDP numbers since 1947. Annualized, that's a 33% hit to the economy. But what is even more, I think, concerning is that the new numbers in terms of new first-time unemployment claims this morning grew again this past week to 1.43 million claims. Yesterday, the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board, Jerome Powell, foot-stomped the fact that not just the numbers from last quarter are of concern, but again, looking out into the future, the Federal Reserve sees trouble ahead. The amount of credit card activity is dropping, and again, as I said, new first-time claims are growing. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Powell back in May warned us that the CARES Act was not going to be enough. This economy needed more fiscal stimulus, and the House did show leadership because we passed the HEROES Act, which was a package of fiscal measures whose cornerstone was extending unemployment compensation and state and local assistance, again, following the lead of the Federal Reserve Board chairman, who said that those are the most efficient ways to make sure that this economy does not falter. Well, here we are today. Finally, after the Senate responded with sort of a package, which, again, is completely missing any relief for state and local government, and which has this convoluted unemployment extension, which Secretary Scalia, President Trump's own Secretary of the Labor, said would take 8 weeks for state government departments of labor to implement. Totally inadequate, totally insufficient to deal with the magnitude of the challenge. Again, when we look at state and local assistance, there is not a member in this body who does not have a board of education, a local school council or finance board that is struggling with making sure that public safety, public education, and public works are going to continue, because revenue is cratering, just the way the government showed this morning that the economy is cratering. You know, we have this debate about defunding the police. Not voting for the HEROES Act was de facto defunding the police. How are local governments, which primarily fund police departments, going to have the resources in this economy to make sure that people's public safety ranks are, in fact, protected? Mr. Speaker, McConnell's plan, which he released earlier this week, his own people called it a mess, a mistake, Ted Cruz, and the president said it's semi-irrelevant. It is time to wake up and get serious. The blueprint is there with the HEROES Act in terms of making sure that we heed the warnings of President Trump's own economic advisors, Chairman Powell, and look at these numbers this morning. Historic, jaw-dropping. We need to act. It is time to listen to General Scott. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I yield back the balance of my time.